Welcome in on a Monday, June 1st edition of Prediction Markets Edge right here on the early line, getting you started out in style. A lot of fun, a lot of interesting ways that you can invest as opposed to going from a sports book here to more of a market-driven content. Love to see it, Joe. It's Donnie Right Side Show, Rainier. It's what we do the next half hour. It's ours, and we bring it to you.
Looking forward to it, Donnie. Yeah. Great week for the prediction markets and the opportunities that they present when it comes to certainly the finals in both the NHL and the NBA. If you happen to like underdogs, there might be a pretty good opportunity to buy low on at least two of them this week in those series.
Closing time. One last call for alcohol. Well, not alcohol, but closing line here when you're trying to invest, make some money, maybe cash out on a ticket show. How about this from CryptoRank.io? Biggest prediction markets closing in June. The 2026 NHL Stanley Cup champion, $81 million market. The Peru presidential election winner, Joe. Yes, worldwide, $58.64 million. A Fed decision in June, $51.56 million. 2026 Seoul mayoral election winner, $44.34 million. And the men's French Open 2026 winner, $37.91 million. I'm telling you right now, a lot of people already lost in that marketplace, no doubt about it.
Oh, they already lost there, Donnie. Listen, there's a good opportunity to jump in. You want to talk about buy? You might not have heard of any of these guys that remain because they don't have great track records. But yes, you are going to have a long shot to be your French Open winner this year on the men's side.
Absolutely. And as we said, we are awaiting the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, which start on a Tuesday. The NBA Finals, they start on a Wednesday. So tonight, the focus going to be more Major League Baseball and the WNBA. And the WNBA, Joe, is where we get started today on the Kalshi Marketplace. Storm versus Wings tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. Look at Dallas, an 83% chance, according to Kalshi, to win this game. The yes contract is 84 cents. Not a big payout, Joe. $100 investment on Dallas tonight. If they win, pays back $120. Heavy favorite here for Dallas going up against the Storm.
Yeah, listen, you got to love Dallas. They're getting it rolling in the right direction here. This Jessica Shepard is absolutely somebody in the prop market that you want to keep an eye on here. She's coming off a game where she just dropped 22 points, got 20 rebounds, 10 assists, second triple-double of the season. And again, they're 5-3 on the season, Donnie. So she is killing it here. And we already know about Fudd. We know about the rookie. I mean, this team is loaded, and they're running teams over. This could be a rough one for the Seattle Storm here tonight. I think the Dallas Wings, and I think maybe even a team total might be a worth look to the over here tonight.
And also, if you're looking on the Kalshi Marketplace, player props always included. Paige Beckers to score 20-plus points. That yes contract is 51 cents. You look at 3 of her last 4 games, Joe, 24, 24, and 20 here. The only outlier was a 7-point performance and a loss to Atlanta here. So if you think she can get 20, it's roughly around 50-50, $100 investment. That pays back $197. Let's keep it in the WNBA tonight. The nightcap out on the West Coast here. The Lynx taking on the Mercury. Looking at the Kalshi Marketplace, a 59% chance for Minnesota to win this game, which means a 60-cent contract. So a $100 investment pays back $167. A team in the Lynx here, first place going up against the Mercury. One of the teams in last place, Joe.
Yeah, it's amazing what the Lynx are doing. 6-2. This is, Donnie, one of your favorite times because this opens up the Commissioner's Cup play here tonight. And listen, Minnesota's rolling. Even though one of the best players in Collier here in the WNBA, got hurt and is out for the season for them, they are still rolling right now. And the Phoenix Mercury, I don't know who they got mad at whoever's making the schedule, but didn't do them any favors. It's a 5-game losing streak. We knew it was going to be a long year for the Phoenix Mercury, but boy, oh boy, it's going to get uglier before it begins to get any better. I think Minnesota rolls tonight here. They're proving once again they could very well be one of the best teams in the WNBA this year.
How about that? And let's just get some news and notes in Major League Baseball here. You had fantastic pitching months in the National League, one by Christopher Sanchez, the other by the Big Miz. Let's hear from the Miz.
You just finished a pretty impressive month. How would you describe the month you had? Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, I haven't looked at all the numbers and such, so I couldn't tell you exactly what I did, but it felt good. It felt like a pretty decent month.
It's probably one of those things that we look at and you don't think of this season in terms of blocks of months.
Exactly. I mean, that's what, you're trying to go home 162 games or whatever, 30 starts I have. So, a span of 6, however many it would be in a month, I don't really look at it that way. You're kind of just looking at the whole season, trying to figure it out.
How about if we told you your ERA was 0.23 for the month of May? Does that change your opinion at all?
I mean, that's decent. Yeah, that's pretty good. But no, I mean, again, I can't look at it, can't really focus on that, because as soon as you do, it goes haywire.
Yeah.
It's one thing for closers to come in, Joe. I'm like, I got 12 pitches. I'm going to gas out and max out on every pitch and hit 100 miles per hour. We've seen that before. But a starting pitcher, like basically every other pitch is over 100 miles per hour when he's throwing his fastball. That guy's been nothing short of impressive. And as a Major League Baseball hitter, nobody wants to face this guy.
Donnie threw 39 pitches, 100 miles an hour or more yesterday. He threw 1,400-mile-an-hour pitches in just the first inning against a Houston team that had been crushing the ball, Donnie. They've been absolutely crushing it offensively since Pena came back, but not against me. You can't hit what you can't see, and he is throwing gas, Donnie. And, it gives the Brewers a chance to win every time he takes the mound.
Let's start talking about some Major League Baseball here on the Kalshi Marketplace. The Marlins taking on the Washington Nationals here. The favorite to win this game, it's the Washington Nationals. Currently at Kalshi, a 56% chance, which means a 57-cent contract if they can win. Sandy Alcantara on the mound for Miami. Very good pedigree, not having all that great of a season. I do think the Nationals win this game, but I'm more focused, Joe, on that team total. And if you see the team total listed on the Kalshi Marketplace, over 4.5 and a yes contract of 48 cents, that means, Joe, plus money. $100 investment pays back $209 here on Kalshi for 5+ runs by the Nats. I think that's happening tonight.
You got to love, the Nats are coming on. They just won 2 or 3 from the Padres, right? Prior to that, they beat the Guardians. They won that series. Prior to that, they beat the Braves in a series. In fact, the last series they lost was when we started the month of May, when the Nationals won the first game against Miami in Miami and then lost the next 2. So I think they're looking for a little redemption here. And, Donnie, we talked about this game. I like runs in this game here. Alcantara obviously is looking like Alcantara at times, but he's also given up way more runs and walks than I like. I think the Nats can make them pay. I like the over in this spot.
Rangers and the Cardinals, Joe. I know you're invested in this one. Texas currently with a 52% chance to win this. A yes contract at 54 cents. Taking on the tarps off Cardinals. Jacob deGrom's on the mound today.
Again, DeGrom is DeGrom on the road. Sunday Night Baseball is what the Cardinals played last night. Love that trend where you look to fade them when they got to play on Monday. And the Rangers are actually the offense is getting going, and that's huge for them because DeGrom usually doesn't get run support. I think against McGreevy, I think they're going to get some runs here tonight. So I do like the Texas Rangers in this game.
2 teams finally, Joe, heading in the right direction. It's those New York Mets. They're going to take on the Seattle Mariners out on the West Coast tonight. The favorite is Seattle. They're currently with a 55% chance on the Kalshi Marketplace, Joe. The yes contract is 57 cents. So if you feel they can win the game, the Mariners, a $100 investment will pay back $176. But if you think the Mets can stay hot on the West Coast, it's plus money in your pocket on this one. A $100 investment would pay back $223 if the Mets handle their business tonight, Joe.
Yeah, tough ask for the Mets here going up against Emerson Hancock, who's been, steady Eddie for this rotation, Donnie. I like Seattle to keep it rolling here against the Mets, but I would look at the under as well.
There you go. Some Major League Baseball to start your Monday and your new month off as well as the WNBA. More hot topics going to be on the way, absolutely. But we look forward to the finals and the World Cup here in different ways we could use those prediction markets. We'll be back after this short break. More PME next.
At the end of the day, LeBron's going to have to put that team on his back. Can he do it? I don't know if he could do it for a 7-game series, Can he give you like two, like, oh my goodness, LeBron at 31? Yeah, I think he can give you a couple of those games. But it's about the other guys that have to step up.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Let me understand this, Joe. Are we going to have any broadcast games on TV anymore? It's all streaming?
You got to pay to watch here, folks. That's just the way it's going to be, one way or the other. And I'm sure this will satisfy, the FCC looking into the coercion that's going on here with the NBA NFL broadcast rights. Yeah, this is all par for the course, I think.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All these idiots out there sounding off on Tiger right now. See, it's so easy to go after a guy that's hurt. He's hurt. Whether you call it whatever you want. He's got a little bit of an issue he's going to fix. Okay? They're attacking. Attack. Why don't you all shut up and let him go do his thing? He had to leave the country to do it because of privacy? That's nauseating to me.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Now, I see him 15th, 16th, somewhere in that ballpark, and I think that makes sense, Donnie. I don't see him in the top 10. I really don't. I mean, when you look at, let's say, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, you start going into that, teams like the Cowboys or the Vikings or the Chiefs, and, could they take a flyer?
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, PME on the TEL, hot fire, June 1. It's a Monday, new series starting this week, Joe, which includes the NBA Finals. And before we get to the games themselves, let's hear from the players. SGA on the Spurs now, moving forward.
Describe just the difficulties that they created for you offensively, particularly with just the way they guarded you. They're obviously a really good defense. With a guy in their back line that's a little bit different from everyone else's. They funnel everything to him, and then he takes up a lot of space. It's pretty unique. A lot of teams can't really do that. I just think above, it's a really good defense, and it's not possible to score on. But I just think it's very different, and it's very different from every other team in the league. So it's it takes some getting used to, and it takes some adjusting to, and they're a really good defense, and it's a little bit different to figure out on them.
Hey, Shane.
When the times are going good here, you got the cornrows in, you got the sunglasses on, you got the fur coats, chains, and whatnot. Getting knocked out of the playoffs. A little bit more calm appearance there from SGA, huh?
Yeah, not as great, right, Donnie? All of a sudden now it's that's not good. The problem is, they're a good defense, but you can't be the only guy that can create a shot and score. And that's exactly what SGA was, left out on an island. So, it's not an impossible defense, but you do need more than just one guy that can shoot the basketball. So I do think the Knicks bring a different look here than what the Spurs were used to seeing with OKC.
Chet Holmgren sleeping with the lights on at home, hoping he doesn't have a nightmare again of Wembayama saying, I'm just going to block your shot. You're not going to do anything. And in a game number 7, you'll shoot 2 times and you'll like it. Let's hear from Chet on Wemby.
We tend to sort of put the team first, and we have seen emotion from you at different points. But there's times where, Wemby is, bumping you on the way to the huddle. There were times he clearly tried you. Did you feel at any point that you almost went out of your way to not make it about you and him, almost to a degree you hadn't before?
At the end of the day, it's always about us trying to win the basketball game. Us as a collective, the Thunder team trying to win the basketball game. And that's what it's always going to be.
For you guys.
Chet on the one hit him. When you go around life where you're over 7 foot, you rule your roost. But then you meet up to a guy that's 7'5". It's you're not going to do anything. Tough pill to swallow. But is it really? like $50+ million a year extension starts with him next year. Jet's going to be all right in the bank account, but boy, he got some of his heart taken there this past series, Joe.
Well, he was exposed, Donnie. I mean, there are faults in his game where, listen, 70% of the league, he can take advantage of, but you're going to have to go through Wemby and the San Antonio Spurs a lot. And unless he makes some changes and maybe puts a few more pounds on, it's going to be a rough ride for him and the Oklahoma City Thunder moving forward.
Game number 1, Joe, you know when that is. That's Wednesday night, 8:30 Eastern here. The San Antonio Spurs, according to Kalshi Marketplace, a 63% chance to win this basketball game. A yes contract at 64 cents, which means a $100 investment pays back $157. But if you think the rested New York Knicks can fly down to San Antonio and steal game number 1, you lay $100 on that investment, you get back $271, Joe.
Yeah, so the big question is, and we saw, a lot of people concerned with the Knicks and the long layoff, and we did see that, right, with Cleveland, where they came out and they didn't look good until, of course, the fourth quarter, and they, erased the 22-point deficit. I wouldn't suggest the Knicks do that here in this game on the road, but again, I think the Knicks have evolved to a team where maybe San Antonio early, Donnie, is the look. But maybe full game, maybe those legs start to get a little weary after a 7-game war. Maybe that's when the Knicks take control of game 1.
Obviously a 2-team race to win an NBA championship, Joe, because only 2 teams are left. But how about this? Looks like a 2-player race when we're talking MVP marketplace. Victor Wembanyama is the favorite. It's no surprise. The Spurs are favorite, and usually the winning team gets the MVP. He's at a 63% chance. Jalen Brunson, 31% chance here, Joe. And then a couple guys, 5%, 2% down the list. But it feels like, Joe, it's going to be Wemby and or Brunson here.
It's a 2-horse race, Donnie. And again, all correlated here. If you like the Knicks, and to tell you the truth, Donnie, if you like the Knicks to win a couple of games here and you think this series goes 6 or 7, Brunson's a pretty good price here at this point because we know he's also more than capable of taking over a game and dropping some points. And I think all he's got to have is one good one, Donnie. And I think that number absolutely reprices into the 40-cent range rather quickly.
Yeah, we take a look also about who's actually going to win the NBA Finals. We just talked about who's going to win the MVP. Well, if we're telling you it's like a 64-cent contract here for Wemby to win the MVP, just bet San Antonio to win the series, because if he's not the MVP and they win, that's a crushing blow also, Joe, at 64 cents. But the favorite here, once again, is San Antonio with home court advantage.
Well, unlike Brunson, where I think there's room to be able to cash out, if you like San Antonio to win, then bet Wemby now. You may never see this at under 60 cents. So now might be the time. Just be prepared to hold on to it right through the finals. I do think there's some room to move with Brunson, but I still think the Knicks bring a ton of value here, even at this price. Donnie, 8 days ago, you could have got the Knicks at 22 cents.
Dreaming of that championship, Joe, which means you want to hold that trophy. Here's the Aaron Fox talking about that.
When you see the NBA Finals, what do you picture?
Man, why not picture us holding the trophy at the end? But, just thinking of everything that goes into it, just the blood, sweat, the tears, the travel, everything that we go through throughout the course of the regular season, and then adding another 30 games, like that does a lot to your body, but I think we're built for it. I think we're prepared for it.
Also, like getting an NBA championship, getting a Super Bowl championship, winning a Stanley Cup, like if you could just wear that ring around for the next 50 years, man, just blazing, blinging in front of every single photographer that you take, that means something. These guys, Joe, so close that they can taste it. And one of these teams over the next 2 weeks, they're going to put rings on their fingers.
It is. And again, 2 of the best teams in the NBA for at least since January of 2026.
DME on TL rolls on next. Don't go anywhere.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all 4.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
They're trading right now currently at 74 wins on the season, which means the Kalshi marketplace goes by 5-win intervals. 75-plus wins for those Houston Astros. That's a 49% contract to the yes, which a $100 investment pays back $205, Greg. I'm not high on this team. Look, again, 75 wins for the Astros is terrible, but this team might not even look the same as where we stand today by the time we get to that deadline.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
You can recruit super young talent that may go in the NBA. You can recruit older guys and have them grow up together. But if you want players to stay, either sign them to contracts or treat them well enough where they're going to stay. To me, it's pretty simple. And, you know, a lot of coaches last year had good years and they left skid marks on their schools and nobody said a word.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Go over the summer where there's drastic changes and gas drops down to $3 a gallon, $2.50 a gallon in some states, and then you have some of the price markets go down. You ride that momentum is what Joe's talking about. So if you say right now, which party will win the U.S. House, and you think it's the Republicans currently trading at 20%, you take them now, and if good press comes, that turns into 25% and 30%, then you have the option to cash out.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Getting down to the business show on PME, on TEL, getting you the information you need to know, and some topics that a lot of people aren't talking about at this point. Did you know that you can actually invest in? Well, how about this, Joe? As you know, in hour number 1 into hour number 2, and we talk about on the early line, we like to fade the public, but in this half hour, we like to fade the market. Let's go. Arithmetic is hard sometimes, specifically for X/Twitter, because vote now. What market do you want to see on PME? Well, I voted for the FIFA World Cup. It's apparently 0%. Look at that. Somebody voted for the U.S. Open here on the SportsGrid Network, and it's 0%. Joe, I don't know where you voted, but the options were U.S. Open, French Open, FIFA World Cup, and James Bond. And did you know the 11th, Mexico and South Africa get the party started with World Cup action?
Well, World Cup will be here before we know it now that the calendar's turned to the 1st. So I would imagine maybe the World Cup gets a few more votes down over the next week or so here, Donnie. But right now, I think the French Open is where the money is here, if you ask me.
Money in the French Open, a couple big winners here. Can't recognize that men's field right now. Still some superstars left on the women's side of things, but also as we talk about some other topics that you might be interested in. Do you like James Bond movies? Well, the question that's been out there for quite some time here on the marketplaces, particularly the prediction ones, who will be the next James Bond? The favorite right now, Joe, as I bring up the markets, Caleb Turner at 48%, followed by Jacob Elordi. And I don't want to give away any spoilers on, Euphoria, but maybe he can play that James Bond character now here at this point. He's only at 21%. The hot name, Caleb Turner.
Yeah, so right now, I mean, this is a great, pure informational market driven by, rumors and innuendo and everything else. But, a lot of people think Caleb Turner is the current front runner ahead of Harris Dickinson and Aaron Taylor Johnson. I would go with somebody knows this, Donnie. That's the problem with this market is that they already know what the answer is in all likelihood. Correct. So these are one of those markets where just follow it. Just follow the steam. You'll know exactly who it is.
By the way, getting in early, Joe, did you know September 8th? Yeah, 2025. Callum Turner, 14.6% to play the next James Bond. Now up to 48%. Let's keep it moving down the list as we go. French Open winner on the men's side here. Look at these names, Joe. Zverev is the favorite at 44% as a chance, followed by Fonseca at 19%, Koboli at 14%, Yodar at 10%, Auger Ali see like, we just making names up at this point. Usually it's like, dude, look, don't go past one or two because it's Sinner and it's Alcaraz. Look at these names, Joe, with the German Zverev up top.
Yeah, I would say obviously the favorite for a reason, which is still at plus money here, Donnie. I think at 44 cents with Zverev, but I think Fonseca brings the number 2 at 19 cents brings a whole lot of value here. I mean, why not, Donnie? It's the surface fits him. And at that price, all he's got to win is a couple more doesn't have to win it, Donnie, necessarily to be able to double that 19 cents and get out before it happens.
All that money betting into it, even the previous. I think Alcaraz will be healthy for this one, though. He's absolutely not. Favorites going down left and right. Sinner's not going to compete. Too hot for him at the French Open as we go. But let's take a look at the women's side of things. As I said, a little bit more superstar power. Sabalenka still the favorite here. Listed at 42%. But if I slide it down, Madison Keys, really is the only U.S. woman left. She's only at 2%, Joe. But I think in the next match, Sabalenka is going to take on Naomi Osaka. Osaka is currently trading at 5% right now, Joe.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you would think here, if you look at this market, it's like, well, why bet anybody but Sabalenka? And I agree, Donnie, because with Swiatek out and everyone else at Coco Gauff out, why not? I mean, get him while you can still get him at plus money, Donnie. That's the way I would look at this because she's likely going to the finals on that side of the bracket.
Joe, not this Thursday, but next Thursday, the World Cup will be underway. As we just said, Mexico's going to tee it up here, and France is the favorite right now. By the way, can France even handle this, Joe? PSG, who's located in Paris, they ride with 780 arrested here. What happens if France as a country wins the World Cup and they're favored to do so, Joe? How many more arrests? Can we get a marketplace on Kalshi, Joe? How many arrests would happen in France if they do win the World Cup?
You think they'd get tired of, I mean, how much more stuff can they destroy, Donnie? I mean, with another win, I mean, not for nothing, but settle down here. The World Cup is really what matters, isn't it?
No, they like to say $1 and a dream, or maybe $100 and a dream. Because if you invest in Team USA to win the World Cup, Joe, that's $6,250 in your back pocket. Look, Joe, ballistic scoring goals now, revved up, home field advantage, home turf advantage, I guess at this point should happen. I'm looking forward to World Cups next week. We bring you all the hot topics tomorrow on PME, much more in the NHL and also the NBA Finals. We'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy your afternoon.